You learn more from failing than from succeeding. It allows you to reevaluate, reposition yourself.
Failure, to me personally, it's just me gathering data or information and working on or revising my plan.
The cultures we live in oftentimes dictate what we think failure is, what we think success is.
The idea growing up in that kind of situation of failure is tainted. It was always about you will be less than if you fail.
The more you hold on tight to life, the harder life feels like. The harder your failure feels. It feels like you've been hit in the face with a baseball bat. If you do something, you're successful right off the bat, you come to the conclusion that everything is just easy in life.
The fear of failure in itself will make you do better.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Today we'll be talking about the surprising benefits of failure in our day-to-day lives. And just a kind of disclaimer, we are by no means experts, so everything you'll be hearing is strictly opinion-based. And we hope maybe you can leave one or two comments about how failure has helped you in your life in general. And this brings me to my first question. So welcome to the show once again. And today, let me start by this. Let my first question be, comparing failure and success, which would you say kind of pushes you more to do better when it comes to resilience and your personal growth?
Well, if you look at it from, how we grow as humans, you grow by learning something, right?
And before you continue, I'd like to chip in that, failure can be subjective, depending, in quotes. So, because what someone else may deem as a failure may differ from someone else.
It is subjective and it's individual based, right? It's everyone sees things. We all say things differently because it's the way you can experience the world from somebody else's eyes.
True.
Right? You learn more from failing than from succeeding. It allows you to reevaluate, reposition yourself, and think about just what it is you're actually trying to do. Success doesn't give you that. Right? If you do something, you're successful right off the bat, you come to the conclusion that everything is just easy in life.
Well, some people may look at it from a perspective of, I'm doing this, I'm succeeding. Let me use that as a fuel to actually press further, don't you think?
It is, and it's all based on how you view the world. If your view is, oh my God, I failed, therefore, but if your view is, this serves as a teacher, a way to learn from my mistakes, a way to rethink, reshape, refocus what I'm doing or what I'm trying. It gives you a chance to reflect, which success doesn't always give you that chance. Because there's a kind of a euphoric feeling you get when you win, when you succeed at something. And I've been around people that they go through something small and they're kind of crushed by life. That tells me you haven't experienced failure, right? Because when you have, there's a level of resilience that you develop when you failed enough times, right? You don't want to fail too many times, but also you don't want to not fail at all. There's a saying that if you haven't failed, it's because you haven't tried. And that saying is true. And there's a reason behind it. You're not going to succeed at everything you try. Every journey, every endeavor, it doesn't work that way. There's certain things you'll be good at, there's certain things you'll suck at. And it's just like playing sports. We've all played sports. You didn't start off by being the best.
True.
You started off, you sucked. You went back to the drawing board. You're like, that didn't work out so great. or I don't, or that guy is better than me. No matter what I do, is better than me. And that pushes you to train harder or actually train smarter. Because sometimes we're so focused on training hard or going hard at everything that we forget that being smart about our moves and the things we're doing is, in a lot of times, it's more important than just killing yourself trying to achieve something. Hard work doesn't always pay off. It pays off really when you're making the right moves. I mean, look at third world countries. Some of the hardest working people in the world live in third world countries.
Very
They
true.
work harder than most people, and yet they don't have much material, assets to show that can justify how hard they've worked all their lives. So you learn more from failure. That is, I truly believe that your failure teaches you more than your successes.
Yes, I agree with you on this topic and on this subject, but personally, because it's personal question, um, I'm a firm believer that there's always room for improvement in any situation or in any human being or to any human being. There's always a room for improvement, and I agree that it's subjective and it is how you take failure to it's how you if you attach if you approach failure with a positive mindset or a negative mindset. So yeah, failure to me personally, it's just me gathering data or information and working on or revising my plan going into what I went into that field for. And I think that's the best way personally I've approached it that has worked for me. I've failed a couple of times, and it doesn't mean I won't fail again. But I just as I go, because people hold their instincts very dearly, and they should, But sometimes you do things out of instinct and think it's gonna go the way you expect it to go. So failure can help you revise, come back. Instinct is not like people will think it's just it's just like it's like something that's set, and once it can be, there cannot be adjustment. There's no room for change because people you hear people say, "I always trust my instinct; it has never failed." I don't think that's true because personally, I'm also everyone has trusted instincts and sometimes has not walked the way it's supposed to be. So instincts should not be seen as something like a set in stone. It should be something that you walk on as you go, from gathering data, from not achieving what you're supposed to achieve because you believe you were going to do that. That's failure.
And in some instances, the instinct that instinct is developed from experience. So if you have not actually, you
Correct.
understand, if you have not
Yeah.
actually walked the walk, then your instinct really
It's not
doesn't.
going to mature.
It's not going to mature. It's not going to
Right.
tell you that, oh, how about you think about that before you
Right.
understand. So
Right.
Well, instinct is a very dangerous thing too, and we hear this thing about my instinct has never betrayed me.
Hmm.
Well, is it really instinct or is it fear?
or being just cautious.
Right? Yeah, because
I have a question. Let's not go deep into that.
Right.
okay.
So yeah. So
But
personally, I think failure to me is gathering data, working on the data I've gotten, and revising my plans, and the instinct word we use here, because I've been very sure of something, and I thought, they say if you feel that some people say it has to come from your stomach, like you feel it strong from your stomach that this is what you're supposed to be doing, and sometimes you feel like that, or you feel like that, and it doesn't pan out the way you were expecting. So, but there's always room for growth and room for adjustment. So I feel failure to me is a guidance system that I always revise when I understand. Oh, I've not achieved the things I'm supposed to achieve. Uh, it may be that I've even planned well. Some people read for exams very well. They study and they fail. But how did you study? How did you plan for that? So it's something you can actually revise and go back to and work on where you were lacking
Yeah.
and improve upon those things and do well in the end.
Okay.
Because a lot of people who were successful today, they owe most of their success to failure, to the times they got it wrong.
Yeah.
And some of them got it wrong so many times that, you would never know. You just see the success part of it. But if you sit down with them and ask them how many times, how long did you have to do this to get it perfect? And they'll tell you. Take the instance of Ford. When he had a vision, he went in there and said, you got to build this engine. All the engineers educated, they were telling him, man, it's not possible. He said, do it, just do it. People were like looking at him and laughing and saying, man, this is not going to be possible. They failed and failed and failed until they got it done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big name. It's a car you see, it's a brand car you see everywhere. Every year they make different designs, different technology improves. But when you see it, at first you think it was just magic or something just happened and it's on the road now. But things has gone wrong a lot of times. Even right now, we're talking about vehicles. People recall vehicles because of failure. And they just revise their plans and their methods and their procedures and make sure that those are corrected and make it better. So failure only makes us better in the end, I think.
Yeah, but I'd like to throw a little bit of wrench in that. For you know me, I have to oppose
It's always
sometimes.
good
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah.
different perspective. Yeah.
So it's I kind of agree with what you've said, what you guys have said, but if you look at it from a subjective aspect of it, now what failure actually means to an individual actually depends on the thing they failed at. Now, it depends on how strongly they hold that thing. Now, let's take a work application, for instance. Let's say you went to school for business or cybersecurity, for instance, and along the way, someone introduces you to a particular industry based on the fact that you are jobless and all that, and you just need ends meet, you need to make ends meet at that point in time. Now you go for that particular interview that is not in the field you've been, sacrificing your time and efforts towards. Now, if you go for that first interview and you kind of flunked it, you won't look at it as failure. You just said, "Oh, I just had to try. It didn't work out." Now you may see it as failure, but the extent at which you hold it is not to that. It's not as high as how you would feel if you actually partook in a cybersecurity interview and flunked it, despite the fact that you've put in so much effort in it. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of subjective, and depending on how well or how much you want that thing, how much you want to succeed in that particular field, or in that you understand how much you want to succeed.
I get what you're saying.
So that's why I said let me throw it a little bit of
You're right though. There's nothing. Everything you said is right, and it's true, and it holds true today. It held true,
Yes,
in the past, and it will hold through in the future. And the truth is, we are conditioned, and I don't know when this happened in human history, that we need to hold on tight. We need to white knuckle life. For those that have ridden bicycles or motorcycles, because they kind of function the same way. especially on a motorcycle. If you hold on to the bar, you white knuckle the bar with the grip of death. Chances of you getting into an accident
It's very high.
increases exponentially because every bump, instead of just moving,
Yeah, flexing.
then it's emphasized. Every bump is pronounced, and it's like you feel it, and you can feel it in your wrist. The more you hold on tight to life, the harder life feels like. The harder your failure feels. It feels like you've been hit in the face with a baseball bat. Because you're holding up, and which holds true to what you said. If you went to school for business administration and you interview in retail and you don't get the job, you're like,
Yeah.
I didn't go to school to do retail.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So
I
it's
did
not a
put in
big
more
deal.
effort, so like there's
Yeah.
nothing to worry.
Meanwhile, if you went for a business interview as a business manager or something and it doesn't pan out,
yeah,
you feel
that
but it's not that it's what you attach to. Our issues in life, what we consider failure or success, is based on what we attach to that particular thing. To some people, there are people right now that are worth 200, 300, 4, 5, maybe even $700 million. And they feel like they haven't achieved anything in life because the goal is to reach $1 billion. Meanwhile, there are people that have $150 in their account and they're so happy because they have something there. So failure or success is always based on each individual, right? What I consider failure could be something you consider a success, and what you consider a failure could be something I consider a success. And the goal is we all cycle through those emotions. The goal is to understand that.
Just to add into the question. So after looking at it from the perspectives you guys have given, how would you see culture? What role do you think culture plays in this whole scenario?
Culture is significant.
Okay. Okay. All right. I was gonna chip in before we go into that question.
Yeah.
So, your explanation about the exams and interviews and all, regardless, like he said, what you attach to it, the outcome
Yeah.
of failure is that's what is subjective about failure. I think so.
Okay.
Yes, that's what is subjective about failure.
Yeah.
In that class, you had colleagues, some passed, but you didn't pass, or the person didn't pass. So it gives you room to think that what did I do wrong, or what did I not do, or
Yeah.
because a lot of people pass this exam. I studied, I didn't pass. Did I prepare it a way that is different from how they prepared, or was I reading a different
Looking at it
material
wrong, yeah.
than they read
Yeah.
to pass? So that void of question that lingers around your mind when you fail is always a chance for improvement. It's always a chance to revise, review, and see what could be done better.
But if you look at it from this perspective,
So I'm not talking
the
about
fear of failure too makes go if you are looking at it from the failure perspective now. If you're looking at it from the success perspective now, the fear of failing can actually make you continue succeeding. So if you look at it from that angle,
well,
Which is true.
which is true and understandable. Like you even said it. The fear of failure in itself will make you do better. It will make you wanna leave no stone unturned. Will make you wanna be very detail oriented. Will make you wanna improve. So again, if you already know the outcome of failure for maybe from your experience.
might not be your experience, maybe from
I'm not sure
someone
there's
else's experience.
I don't think there's any human being that has not failed in one way or the other.
True.
The experiences may not be exams.
Yeah.
The experiences can be anything. So the fear of failure that helps you do better is because you already experience and understand how the experience of failing
Felt, yeah.
will feel.
Yeah.
So if you're scared of that, then you wanna the room for being better is always open, and you can delve into it and make adjustments and make it work. So coming back to culture, I'll let you say and
Well,
how it affects
the
failure.
cultures we live in oftentimes dictate what we think failure is, what we think success is. There are certain tribes in the world that success to them is community. It's being around your people in your community, establishing the cultures where when somebody does something wrong, they don't have law enforcement. People in the community will sit down with the person and should shower them with love. There's certain cultures in different parts of the world. They're quite remote, but their thing is if you've done something wrong to someone, we're all going to shower you with love so that we're going to reinforce love because that's where we operate from.
Yeah.
Let's take the Western world, for example. The culture is hustle, hustle, hustle. And no matter how good you're doing, it's never good enough because you can look around you for most people, look around you and be like, oh, this person is doing that. I want a Porsche, I want a Porsche. Then you get the Porsche, it feels good for about a month or two until you see a guy in a Ferrari. And then you're reminded
You're not working hard
that you're
enough.
not working hard enough. So you go, you buy the Ferrari and it feels good until you see a guy in a Bugatti. And now you're reminded how you're like, he must be, this guy doesn't sleep. You're not asking questions how we got it. Maybe it's family money. Maybe it's his dad. Maybe it's an uncle. Maybe it's just generational wealth. You, with the culture you are in, can influence you in ways that you're not even aware of. Everything we do, not everything, but a lot of things we do is based on our cultures. You move from one culture to another. You could be the most vibrant person and you move to a different place with a different culture and you feel like a loser. And that could happen almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, I was back home. You hear that story. Back home, or when I was younger, it's because you've moved somewhere else. And what you thought was okay, where you sat, your socioeconomic standards or status at the time was good enough. You're like, I'm fine. And then you move somewhere else and you feel like
you've never started.
you put me in certain places in the US where all these big celebrities here in Colorado, you go to is this Silverton?
Aspen.
Aspen and
that came to my mind.
Telluride.
Okay.
Where the billionaires are slowly pushing out the millionaires. Imagine that. So you've worked hard and you're now a multimillionaire. You feel good. You live in a $5 million house. You think you've done big things. You bought a house in the neighborhood. You look around. Everybody else drives Ferraris and they feel good. And then one billionaire shows up and is like, oh, I like this. Buys. Somebody else shows up close to $1 billion and you notice that your worth initially was $5-10 million, but everybody else showing up, they're now 100 plus, 250 million plus. And now they're slowly pushing out the culture can do to you, and your mental state is you just feel like, I'm not doing enough. But the truth is it enough for you? Are you happy? Success is no longer based on your happiness. It's based on what I can prove to that guy and that girl and that person over there and that stranger that doesn't care about me. That's not success. Really, that is failure. If your existence is based on impressing everyone else but yourself, you have failed in life.
Now, bring it back to the topic at hand. Now, would you regard that as? Would you want to embrace such failure?
No, for me, failure is if my friends, my family, my loved ones, if they don't feel like I'm a trustworthy person, they don't feel like they can rely on me when things go wrong in their lives. I'm not somebody people think of like, I want to, whenever I meet and sit down with this guy, I leave that interaction feeling rejuvenated, then I have failed in life. Because when I die, I'm not taking $200 million with me. It stays here. What stays are the memories and the lives you've touched. So if you're not impacting people's lives in a positive way, to me, that is failure. To some people, not having $1 billion, even though they're worth 700, they feel like they failed in life. This is why we can't measure your success based on somebody else's. Because you're looking at the world from two complete lenses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I agree with that. And we're talking about culture, how it
Mm-hmm.
affects
Yeah. What do we place
the
it?
way we see
Mm-hmm.
failure. You said it right. You hit the nail on its head when you said we've been conditioned in some ways. Looking coming from where we're coming from, Africa, Nigeria precisely. Um, we were brought up, were you know, a lot of people. I'm just very fortunate to not come from that kind of family where you're being compared.
Mhm.
You know, you're being told, oh, if you don't fail, you're gonna be. I mean, if you don't pass,
Take
or if you
it.
don't make it in life, if you don't pass, like in terms of school education, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't pass, you're gonna be useless, or you're gonna be like that person. You know, it's been pounded on in us that we have to at all costs fail. So the the idea growing up in that kind of situation of failure is tainted of you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always about you will be less than if you fail. You understand, which sometimes you just gotta feel to understand that you can be better. So it was not that. So the way it was impressed on us or imposed on us is that at all costs you have to be
You are
successful or
successful.
you have to pass, and then you lose yourself.
It's more
And
like
so it's
be better, be more successful than that
yeah,
person.
and so that's why. So it's a validation thing.
Mm.
I gotta be good. I have to pass because I have to be validated. That person has to cannot be better than me. You understand? You don't want to be like someone else that's low. So that has tainted what failure is supposed to do to help us even be better. So I understand how that can affect people, and sometimes you don't get out of that kind of mentality or mindset forever. It sticks with you, and then you lose yourself. That's where we're coming to, where you're saying if you're not a better person for your friends and family, they can come to you and be able to
They
be
count on you.
Yeah, I'm not
yes,
relying.
they can rely on you. They can be sure that if I come to this person, I'm going to get what I'm looking for from him in terms of positive advice or help. You can easily lose yourself trying to impress people, you know, and that shouldn't be what it should be. Failing is not the end of life. It shouldn't be that you should be comparing yourself with others. We talked about people. You said some because there's always things or people that are going to be better
Yeah.
in terms of status than you, but you can't lose yourself. Like you said, there are areas where billionaires are pushing millionaires out. They're buying everything and anything they can lay their hands on. Does it mean because they want to buy wherever or a proximity, anything around the proximity of where you are, then you should kill yourself and lose yourself and compare yourself with them? No. It all boils down to value. I always say your values are what shapes you, what helps you stick to what the goal is
Yeah.
in
True.
terms of keeping your eyes on the prize. So Culturally, in many cultures, not just Nigeria, failure has been seen as terrible, something that should not even happen. The Western culture, they see it different. You know, some people fail and see it as like we've explained, and most of us see it here as a room for improvement, as a room to go back and do some revision, and as a room to review and come out well.
Well, that's true. And if you want to look at it in another way, like sometimes failure kind of pushes you to like above whatever limit you thought you
Correct.
had.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
failing forward. That's
Failing up. I was gonna say
Failing
that.
forward,
We've
right?
all heard the term. Some people fail upwards, right?
Yeah.
And people don't understand the term like failing up. It's when something goes wrong, but it ultimately pushes you in the direction closer or even faster to your goal. And you see
Yeah.
that it happens. Obviously, it doesn't happen to everyone, but sometimes the failure that you experience or you know is what pushes you closer to your goal because it forces you to reassess, reevaluate, reflect on what happened. And sometimes something didn't go right because something better was coming into your life. And if you there's a saying, if you hold on to money with a tight fist, right? The issue is no one can add more because you're so eager to hold on to what you have that no one else can give you more. And there's a saying in Yoruba, and the transition is what they're actually saying is if you close your eyes for bad people to walk by you, even good people will walk
We'll
past
walk
you,
past you, yeah.
right? So you can't be like, oh, if I fail, look at some of the CEOs we have running big, some of the billionaires. Go back and look at how they got there. Some of them dropped out of school because they're like, this is stupid. I'm not following this stupid painting that I've been told all my life. This doesn't work. I want something. And they're like, college is not for me. And look at them now. And I'm sure there were people that looked at them thinking, oh, you're a failure. But guess what? They failed up. Because the people that thought they were failures back then are probably the same people going to job interviews and hoping they will get a job at those same companies.
Yeah.
Jack Ma is one of them. You fail, but you never give up on yourself. It's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you're willing to stand up that matters.
And I think we've touched this on a previous topic on this podcast. And like I always said, there's always room for improvement and growth, human beings. How do we grow? Is from failure most of the time because, we've always said, you've got to, whether you believe it or not, you're learning from any failure you've experienced in life. Whether it comes off as fear, you've learned because now you're scared, right? That something has happened that you didn't like the experience and it has to change. So the fear of that repeating itself again, it's already opening a room for improvement. So we're always going to learn from failure, regardless of whether you think you're doing it or not. Because if you now, if it morphs into fear of failure itself, then you've learned something, and it prevents you from taking stupid actions that you took that made it happen.
I was going
Sometimes
to
it
come
may
to
not be
that.
stupid. Sometimes it may just be ill preparation or planning. It just needs revision and review, and it's gonna work out well for you. So yeah, I think like you said, you call Jack Ma. There are a lot of people we can call names, and if they sit you down and tell you how many times they failed and learned, they only succeeded because they've grown from
They've embraced
learning.
failure.
Yeah, from we've grown from learning from how they failed and made all the adjustments, and they're where they are. Yep.
So that brings me to this question. Failure in one's early life, do you think it helps them? It makes them stronger? Like, you understand? Do you think
Mm-hmm.
it makes them? It helps them become stronger, or it just makes them more curious or more cautious in
So,
terms of
That's a
improvement?
good question. It's a question I've wrestled with for a while in my own life. Just trying to understand people, the general public. Now, when you fail, there are two possible outcomes.
No, I mean, like, yeah, when you
Mm-hmm.
feel
Mm-hmm.
early in life,
Yeah,
kind of, you
and we
understand?
all have. We started failing when we tried to walk. That was the first failure,
uh-huh.
right? You took your first step and your knee buckled and you had to crawl and you look at your parents like, did you see this foolishness? I can't believe you guys just walk like this, right? So that's your first, for most people, that's the first time they ever failed. That was impact, like the brain recognizes that I can't do this. Because I can't it's kind of a failure, right? I can do is success. I can't is saying I'm incapable. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. If you fail early in life, there are two possible outcomes. You're either going to grow from it or your growth is going to be stunted from it. When you grow from it, that's when you appreciate failure. You understand failure doesn't ruin your life, it allows you to edit your life. If you're stunted by it, it becomes fear. Oh, you know, my uncle did X, Y, and Z, and this happened to him, therefore I'm never going to do that. That's fear. The question is there a better way to do it? If so, why not do it? Why not go that route? So failure can be crippling or it can be motivating. And it's all based on your environment has such a huge, and this is what you said about being coming from a family where they're not saying, if you don't, you're gonna end up like that
That's,
guy.
yeah.
That creates fear. I don't want to be that guy. So then the strive for excellence goes
Kicks in.
into an overdrive. And now I have to succeed in everything. I can't fail. I can't fail. And the problem with that is as you achieve things, you move the goalpost just a little bit further. And you achieve that and you move the goalpost a little. So you're constantly stressed, constantly feeling like a failure, and you're constantly pushing the goalpost just a little bit further, a little bit further. And then you die. And then what? And then what is the purpose of your existence? Your existence should be meaningful. And I hate to say this, for most people, the existence to them, no, and that's what's funny. You could be loved by almost everyone that comes in contact with you, but you could hate yourself so deeply. Isn't that funny? We've met people that are like, this person is amazing. And the way they speak about themselves, they will never speak about anyone else around them
Okay.
that poorly.
So, yeah, and I agree with you. I've read um, something to this effect in two books, Message from the Masters and Tribe of Mentors, where they're advising you to fail earlier in life because you have room to make adjustments and get better as you grow. But failure, I see, like we've talked about, it's failing very, very early, and even as a child. And you use the example as trying to walk
Mm-hmm.
and you fall. So you see, it's even it's somewhat natural to fail. In so that's why when we were talking about, we don't want to talk about it just in terms of profession, exams, and all of that. Let's say general
In life.
in life. Trying to walk. Your first step, you take one, two, three, you fall the second time. The third step, you already know, and sometimes you fall and even laugh. Sometimes you fall and cry, depending on your mood and your environment, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on around you. But the times you fall and you feel hurt and you cried, you see that the next time you're crawling to something that's going to be of support to you, and you stand up and start walking and holding hands on that support to make sure you don't fall and hurt yourself.
It means you have learned.
You've learned. That's exactly what you see that.
Yeah.
So you've learned. So it just helps you improve in life. It is natural, and we do this naturally, and it helps us naturally. But then comes culture, where people compare you and say, "Oh, I've watched parents back home in Nigeria, and maybe a child. Everybody's different. A child start walking as early in life, and the other child doesn't walk very early, and the parents are worried and saying, "Oh, that child at this age was walking." Even within families, like the first child can walk very
My
fast.
twin
Like,
walked before I
Mhm.
did.
And the parents can be worried, and they will start messing the child up and saying, "Oh, you see, your brother was walking as early as possible." It doesn't matter. It takes time for people to assimilate things and make things work for them. Is different for everybody.
Yeah.
But when you now bring your own opinions and perspective and impose on the child and make the child feel less than because they're not achieving what they should be achieving at some certain age, that's you setting a construct to make them feel less than they are when they're taking their time in their own pace to get to where they are.
Yeah.
So we all are going to learn from failure naturally, but that's where it's really terrible when culture now comes in, and what is natural they want to just bring their own opinion, their own perspective, or perceptions, and destroy what it should be as a guidance system, as a guardrail for us to improve and grow. So that's where I was trying to come in and clarify that.
And I'll piggyback off what you said real quick. Now, we used a child learning how to walk as
An instance.
as an example of how early most of us, if not all of us, have failed in life, right?
Right.
But the thing
All.
is, right?
All.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that person is like, I never
will
struggled.
argue
I jumped out the womb and I was full sprint.
They argue whether they don't know it or they know it and they're ignorant.
We're going to come to that too. Like,
Yeah.
that will be our last question.
But if you failed when you're trying to walk, you stumbled and you fell, and you decided from that point on, I'm never going to try again, you won't be able to walk. Period. Right? So you have to stumble, you have to fail. In some cases, it's required. It's when you pull like a catapult, right? You have to pull back to project wherever object or missile forward. There has to be a backward propulsion that shoots you forward, and that's what failure is meant to do. So people shouldn't look at failure as, oh my God, I'm not successful, I failed at this and I failed at that. No. It's just sometimes it tells you to change your direction and focus here, because this is not your path in life. That's your path. And if you see failure as a guide, like you said, like a GPS, a guidance system, then sometimes you realize you've been pulling on push doors all along. It's time to go find the pull doors to pull so you can get into the room you're trying to get into. I'll let you continue to your next.
So another way I'll put it again, when I was talking about failure is natural, I just see that life has a contrast, right? So when people want to say duality, there's always, depending on how you see it, it's good or bad. So what if you understand it that way, that there's always a contrast, that it can either happen the way you want it to happen or the other way. So there's always going to be failure, and we're always going to, and it's just for growth reason
But
and
you
expansion.
can't really enjoy success if you haven't failed,
Fail,
because
you
there's
won't
no
even understand
comparison,
how it feels.
right? There's no
That's the contrast I'm saying.
yeah, the sweetness of success comes from experiencing failure.
You guys are calm down. Just calm
Like I
down.
always say, our discussions are always enjoyable, and and we just flow through the thing. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah,
So
you can
this.
always mediate and let us know when we're going
Oh, okay.
astray.
Yeah.
So let me. This should be our last. This should be my last question, and
Okay.
when you respond, you put your closing remarks.
Okay.
So, which is easy because when you go online or on the TV, media, everything, when you see these successful people come and give these enlighten, they try to enlighten people, talk about their success and how much they failed, and now not looking at it from
the motivational speakers.
those motivational speakers, it's a profession. Now, some of those motivational speakers have actually led that life and actually failed before they became successful.
Mhm.
That's why they come out and talk about it. Now, looking at it, assuming not putting into perspective if you have made it already or if you are just approaching that status, which do you think is easier to talk about? Not looking at it from, oh, now I've arrived, I can talk about my failures. Which do you think is easier to talk about? Maybe probably to enlighten someone else or just put it out there in general?
I think failures are much easier to talk about. Failures are more serving to talk about. Because failure oftentimes sparks creativity, sparks innovation. People don't fail because they're worthless. People oftentimes fail because of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Right? It's easier to motivate someone by saying, I have been there. I know what it's like to try hard than everyone else around me and not have things go my way. And I'm telling you, just keep trying. It will come. Your time will come just like mine did. I can't go to someone and be like, hey, you know what it's like to be successful? Yeah, just look at me. Life is great, man. It doesn't motivate people. This is why we naturally, when you watch a movie, and we've seen this with villains, right? In movies, who do you think people align more with? The villains. Because especially if the backstory is told the right way, you're like,
Yeah.
I understand them. I understand how they got there. We naturally gravitate towards the underdogs. It's almost because there's a version of us that understands how people got there. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean we condone their behavior, but we understand how they got to that point. It's easier to talk about but we live in a society where talking about your failures is looked down upon. But we should be telling people what we've been through and how we've come to where we are, what that journey looks like. Because the journey to success is always paved with failure.
So I think my experience is somewhat different. So your question is, which is easy to talk about, failure or success?
Yeah.
So
Not minding what your situation is currently, whether you have made it or maybe you're still failing, which is easier to talk about.
So my experience is somewhat different in the sense that I've experienced here. Maybe it's different. It's different time, climate, space, time, and space, age. All of that are factors to consider. So my experience here is different. People tend here in the Western world, so that's why you see a lot of videos of people wanting to teach people how to be as successful. and they take out, except very, very conscientious people, we bring the
How they
failure,
get
the
there.
hard times into all of the training and the description and everything. But a lot of people will just tell you how to go about it, straightforward. They're telling you about the successes. So do this, do this, do this, do that, do this,
True.
do this. They wanna, uh-huh. So it has become, in the Western part, easier to talk about the success and how, because now it's catchy. It's you know how it has evolved.
It's a feel good story.
Yeah, everybody wants to use a thumbnail or a catchy title to drag your attention. Do this and make 20 million. Do this and do that. So it's all about the success part of it. They won't even be telling you how, let's come back to starting this podcast. Just going into it first, we've never done this before. There were a lot of things, and we're still learning.
Mhm.
A lot of things have happened that we've either lost sound,
Oh, that was a rough one.
but we don't come here and tell people about
Yeah, we
the
lost
back.
some.
And we couldn't use that video. That was useless. And this is time we've put into coming here and talking, and we have families, we have things to do. And it can be frustrating after just sitting down and just yapping like this, and in the end, we have nothing to show
For, yeah.
for that day. We could also be doing something else. But those are the failures that we've experienced that people will know. But people will watch these videos and see we're doing well, we like it, they're commenting, and they're enjoying our topics. And
I even have a real life scenario for that.
right. And so you see that's it. But it's easier nowadays to talk about your successes than what you've gone through. That's been hard. But back in Nigeria is different. People are glued to your suffering. In fact, it's an argument of who has suffered most.
Yeah. Very true.
Misery
very
loves
true.
company. Misery does love
So
company in some
it's
cases.
an argument of who's suffered the most, who's gone through hell the most, and they even don't want to even talk about the successes.
Yeah.
They say, okay, oh, you think you suffered when I was
Yeah.
doing this?
Oh my God. Just hit it,
Yeah,
yo.
that's wild. That's wild, and it's true. It's
It's
much
true.
wild.
It's
And that's why I said time, place, climb, place, everything is different. So that's why I said conscientious people, when they're talking about their success, they also have to refer to their hard times. I don't always tell people it's always smooth, set in sail, set in stone, everything has worked out for me. No. If you're willing to really understand how I got here, this was what I've gone through, I'm going to tell you that. And I'm telling you that so that you don't go through that, because I've gone through it. I've gone through it and understand it. And I'm helping you out now because I now have the knowledge, and understanding of what it takes to be here at this point in time. So if you want people to listen to you nowadays, you have to talk about the success first. But if you're conscientious enough, you will also add, or you say, but this is what I went through. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you will automatically, because it doesn't mean because you're telling them what you went through, then they will not go through some of that. Like, there are videos about how to start up a podcast, but they tell you, oh, buy this, buy that, buy this, buy this, buy that. But you don't know that sometimes you're going to lose sound. Sometimes the video can be blurry or bent or something. There are many other things that can happen along the way. People don't have that time because they want to tell you how to go about it quickly and make the money. Because I always tell people, somebody coming online to teach you how to make money, most times, seriously, if that person is really making money, they won't have that time to want to come and start teaching you. You can go to a proper school, but just YouTube video, 1 hour video telling you how to make it in just 1 hour. That's not real. That's not feasible to say the least. I would say if you want to teach somebody, have a course, proper course, not just videos. Where you're actually telling them more what's the barriers can be to achieving this, so that they can actually navigate those things. But just saying do it like this, do it like this, do it like this, people will go and do it, but it won't work out. That's why you see a lot of people, frustrated and saying, "Oh, I watched this. I've watched 10 million videos on this, but it's not gonna span out well for me." Yeah.
Yeah, but I have, for me, I kind of see it from both aspects, and maybe I worded the question wrong. Okay, so let me give you an instance. Let's say you're at work now, and under your watch, or you did something that made the whole thing, everything go bad. Now you are in the midst of a panel now, and you're expected to give a report. Now, which one, like, which one comes out, like, you understand?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so
because I've experienced this.
so that was how I meant the question, but you guys did.
And
I'm sorry. Let me just quickly say something. You continue real quick. It's very short. So that was why I was asking. So the question and my experience is different. So the question, maybe you've now said it well, like the way you said. So there's a difference between how you which one is easier to say or speak on,
Yeah.
or what people are willing to hear or receive.
Mm.
You understand, or what they're attracted to. So there's two different. So the way, that's why I was saying my experience is different. How I will say it. But yeah, you can continue. What you wanna say.
I see what you're saying, and I think it takes somebody who's able to reflect to understand. And when things go wrong, it's natural for us to want to deflect the attention from us to something else. And it's why people are always like, well, I did it this way. No, I own it. I've made mistakes at jobs. I'm like, I'm telling the truth, regardless of the outcome. This is what ends my career here at this company. So be it. And I don't want to work for a company that if I make one mistake and I own up to it, and I get there's some jobs the margin for error is so small that if you make, they're like, for example, a surgeon, right? If you're during an operation, you start thinking about dinner, that's somebody's life on the table, right? Right? So in some professions, your margin for error is so slim that we can't allow you to keep making mistakes, or one mistake is too many. In some professions, and I get that. But for me, I've done things where something happened, I ended up costing the department money. Mind you, I helped build the department. That's why I was hired, to help build that department. And I ended up costing the department. I gave the business proposal, the revenue proposal, I did all those things. And I talked to my manager and I said, you know what, I messed up. And he's like, I know. He's like, this is unlike you. And I was like, I thought about it. And I was like, this is what happened that day. And he's like, oh man, I didn't know that. So I'm like, no, it's okay. I handled it. But because I was thinking about so many things happening in my personal life. At that time, I had to leave early to go handle some stuff. I messed up. And I said, do you trust me? And he said, yeah. And I said, I'm going to do something. Next month, let's revisit this. And he didn't ask me. I said, don't ask me what I'm going to do. Let's look at it next month during my one-on-one. And I did what I wanted to do. And the following month, he was like, oh my God, we haven't made this much money before. How did you do it? And I gave him my reasoning, and he's like, this is the way forward now. So sometimes feeling like if you have an employer or you have people in your life that if you make a mistake and you own up to it, they will punish you and never let it go, then maybe you're with the wrong group of people. You're with you're working for the wrong company, your boss is not the right boss for you, your partner is not the right, your friends. And now, obviously, there's differences between, not all sins are equal, not all crimes are equal.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is, and the main thing is just own up to your screw up and let the rest happen the way they need to happen. And, it is what it is, and life goes on. So that, for me, that is it. I'm not going to throw someone under the bus to make me look good because I'm afraid that somebody's not gonna like that I own up that I'm being truthful.
Yeah. I would say,
Right?
so I would say actually, for me, I'd say success is way easier to talk about because at that point in time, like he said, your audience are kind of gravitated towards your success. That is why they're giving you their audience.
Yes.
So for
Let me-
you,
let me
it's
chip in.
easy for you to talk about your successes
Yeah,
than
it's
your
much
failures.
easier.
And for you,
let's,
it's the
let's
same.
let me say this now, since this is it. Let's ask everyone here a question. What are you interested in, and who is someone you can say in that interest is doing well, and you're like a role that can serve as your role model? Everybody.
For me, Sadhguru.
Okay. You.
I'm trying to remember his name. He's one of these Shark Tank investors.
Mark Cuban.
No,
The black one.
no, not the black one.
What's his name?
He's a Democrat.
Ah,
He's not the one that gravitates
Oh, it's
towards
the
us.
Canadian. There are two Canadians in Shark Tank.
Is it
Is he Canadian?
Is
Yeah,
it
there are
bald?
two
I can't remember his name, but let's just
not
picture.
the bald one and the other one, the other last person is the Canadian.
I think the one I'm talking about has a
I
football
know
team
who
or
you're
something.
talking to. I forgot his name. I saw something on him
Yeah.
recently. Okay, let's see. Okay, you if I can get Sadhguru today for us to interview, or I get that guy
Yeah.
for us to be in this podcast and talk about. What are your expectations going to be in terms of what he's going to share? Because we have only 1 hour.
I already know what is success, what successes are.
Yeah, you want.
I already know those things. People already know. If you're successful enough, people around you already know what you
No,
Yeah.
what
I'm
you've
just
succeeded
saying.
in.
Yeah.
I want to know the
So let me
journey.
revamp the question. What questions are you going to be asking him? Because we have 1 hour. Nobody has all the whole day to talk. You can go to his channel and
Yeah.
watch all the other things.
Exactly.
You have 1 hour. You know this. This is something. This I'm interested in whatever he's doing, and I need some information. I have questions.
I would ask him questions on how to navigate the tough times, because that's more important to me
Right.
than his.
And
I don't.
that's
His successes, I
excellent.
already know that.
That's what it's not about what you're asking is still related to success. But what will you ask?
I'd ask him, how many times did you fail, and when did it become apparent to you that, oh, I need to keep doing what I'm doing. I need to keep forging ahead instead of giving up.
Okay, those are good questions, and those are wanting to understand how he has come
Yeah, the journey. Yeah.
the journey to where he is. Like me, when I was at school, I was supposed to write a paper, and they said choose a role model in your field or anything like you like. At the time, he was still alive. It was Steve Jobs, and I wrote a paper about him because the the assignment was very detailed, right? Why and what questions you ask, and all of that. All you guys have said are questions that came to mind because everybody wants to know how you've gotten to this place that you're this important and you've done all these good things in life and just impacted human beings. So if we have 1 hour to talk about something, that's most of the time we have. Even if it's meeting like the questions you have, we're always going to talk about things that has helped us get to
Yeah.
where
Where we
are. And in the end, it's still going to be about this success. But that's why I always say you have to be conscientious enough to always add the journey? Like what your obstacles? What has made you work hard, learned, and be resilient to achieve what you're gonna achieve? So the expectation from everybody, as we've asked, all of us, is that how did you get here?
How did you navigate those things, the bumps in the road? Because the success, we already know that.
Yes.
We're more interested in how
Did you get here?
the journey, what you had to overcome. And this is why I said, for me, failure is more important to discuss, because it's when you talk about your failure, you talk about the obstacles in
But
the way.
you are talking about it from the perspective of my success has gravitated as brought these people to come listen to me.
No, I'm talking about when you're talking about your success. If you're really, and this is what you're saying, when you're trying to be of service to people, you're not going to focus only on your success, because your success doesn't tell people how you got there. Your failures usually tells you the sleepless nights, how many times you had to revise the bids, how many bids, and if you have to borrow money from families. Your failures and the things, the hardship tells a better story than the success, because that is being human. The journey is never smooth. It's never roses. It's bumps and hardship, and there are times you question and you doubt yourself. There are times, for some people, sleepless nights. For some people, tears of agony. And there's just so many things that happens that if we fully solely focus on the success, you miss out on so much.
Yeah.
Because the
And I
failures
think
is what builds you,
and I
it builds
think
character, gets you
we're
there.
almost we're like saying the same thing.
Yeah,
We're just going around. But the thing is, you said, how did you navigate your ways to here? I said, how did you get here? You also said, what did you do to, your question? Your question you ask that guy would be, okay, what your failures? What did you get to this place? So it's still the same thing we're saying.
Yeah, but sometimes
Because you cannot just talk about the failures and not say how you
you have
navigated that
navigated,
failure
yeah.
to be able to. Oh yeah, you learned and
Yeah.
grew and how you've grown from learning from the failures to where you are now. So that's why I said, how did you get here? How did you navigate all of that? The same thing. But you cannot just. I can't come and ask him. Just tell me all about your failures.
Yeah,
I'm not going to learn how you navigated the failures.
True.
We all know that
he won't even be too.
It wouldn't make sense.
He won't even talk
make
about
sense.
it.
It wouldn't make
That's why
sense.
you see,
Because
the catchy thing. Why he's even here is because he's successful in what he has done.
Yeah.
And what you admire about him.
That's what I'm saying. So the success actually brings the audience.
No, it does bring the. I agree with
It
you.
works hand in hand. But let me just tell you the truth. People are going to be attached to his success first, and how he navigated his
Yeah, that's exactly
through the failures. How did you learn? How did you grow to get here? That's what I'm saying. I'm
And
not saying
to me, the instances where talking about your failure becomes easier than talking about your success is when you're trying to navigate, trying or looking for favors. That is when talking about your failure actually comes out easier.
Not really. It's when you're trying to educate or help people, when you're trying to uplift people and show people that you can also, like, when you're trying to make yourself seem more human. The element of you talking about how you feel and how you overcome or you overcame those failures is important, because it makes you more relatable, right? Or I didn't just get here because somebody handed me stuff. I suffered, right?
I understand what you're saying.
You understand? You are looking at it from the perspective of I've arrived.
Wait, I understand what
You understand?
where both of you are coming from. But let me just say this: that's the thing. I said climb place, and I just said the analogy of where we're coming from. It's always an argument of who has suffered most. And nobody's saying how they navigated or where they are. So it doesn't make any sense, because we always keep arguing about suffering and This is I suffered more than you. This is we're not even talking about how we navigated the situation
Yeah.
or if we are even better. And that's why the place is like that, where we're coming from, right? But people here, you talk about failure. There's no way you're not going to talk about your failure, but how did you navigate these failures? How were you able to grow from it? What did you learn from your failures and where you are now?
Well, I guess the thing is, and this will be my final statement, you can't talk about solely about your failures and you can't do the same about your successes.
Yeah.
Those two have to be
Right.
married.
Yes.
Right? We can talk about, oh, I've arrived or I'm on my way. But what's most impactful and what is more encouraging to the people around you is how you overcame the tough times.
Yeah.
That is what helps people.
Right.
Not about I failed. We all fail.
Yeah.
I'm successful. We've all been successful at some point.
Right.
It's
You
how
see,
you
that's why
navigate it.
we have
And
to
I
marry
think
those two together.
that is the most important part of the journey. How you overcame the tough times and whatever, because that's gonna be your tough time. It may not be my tough
Tough
time,
time, yeah.
right? So I think that is what I've been trying to say. Like
Say yes, and
the
that's what
tough
I
time
understood
is the
from
most
everything.
how you came out, what they were, and how you were able to
Yes.
navigate.
Yes.
That is more important than I failed. Of course, you
Of
fail. You've
course.
been failing in life. You just
I'm
maybe you're just not
telling you.
aware of how much you failed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
to bring up. Yeah.
So you guys heard it all from there, from the chief's mouth.
You panel.
Chiefs, what was the plural for chief? It's chiefs, right? Chiefs, yeah. So you heard it all, and well, all we said all that to bring it back home. That sometimes embracing failure can actually show you the correct path, or actually show you where you're lacking, and kind of pushes you further and kind of gives you like makes you yearn for success. So, having said that, it would be nice if you, the audience, can actually chip in once in a while in the comment section how you have overcame certain hurdles in your life and how it has helped you progress. And if you have any suggestions for topics you'd like to us to talk about, don't hesitate to leave it in the comment section below. And with that, we call it a day.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add and use this moment to express my gratitude for the viewers and the subscribers. We've exceeded 500 subscribers now. We're going to 1,000, and we're very grateful that at least you show that it shows that you guys are there waiting for us to get more content out, good topics, and that you're listening and being engaged with what we're discussing, because most of what we discuss and like to discuss is all about life, as the podcast name is titled, and as it implies, it's what we experience as human beings every day, and it's in the end about helping us shape our ways and living a good life in the end. So we're very grateful and thankful. We're going to 1,000, and we'll be here thanking you every day and as we go in this journey. So you can as well just keep subscribing, liking, commenting, and giving us suggestions. We're open to all the feedback. Sorry, not feedbacks. Feedback. And so yeah, that's it for me. Yeah.
That's it, man.